What if I told you that 99% of your suffering isn't caused by your circumstances, your finances, or even the people who have wronged you? What if the real culprit is a hidden, invisible cage you've allowed to be built inside your own mind? Every single day, you are being manipulated, not necessarily by malicious people, but by your own uncontrolled impulses and the external noise that feeds them. You wake up, and before you even open your eyes, your mind is already racing, reacting, and projecting anxiety into the future. You are a passenger in your own life, watching the steering wheel spin while you scramble to keep up. The Stoics knew exactly how to stop this. They understood that the mind is a kingdom, but most people have surrendered their keys to every passing stranger, every insult, every fear, and every desire. You feel exhausted, not because you are working too hard, but because you are leaking your life force into things you cannot control. You are ready to stop being a victim of your own biology and start becoming the architect of your reality. In this video, we are going to dismantle the structures of your reactive mind and show you how to forge a will of iron. If you are tired of living in the back seat and you are ready to seize the controls, type "I am ready" in the comments right now. It is time to wake up. Most people believe they are free. They think that because they can choose what to eat, where to work, or who to talk to, they are masters of their destiny. But look closer at your internal state. Are you really free? Or are you a slave to the very next thought that enters your head? Stoicism teaches us that true freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. It is the absolute mastery over what you think and feel. When someone insults you and you immediately feel anger, you are not free. You are a puppet. The insult pulled your strings, and your anger was the dance. We live in a world designed to keep you reactive. Social media, the news cycle, the pressures of your job. All of these are engineered to hook your attention and trigger your primitive emotional responses. When you react, you are giving away your power. You are saying to the world, "My internal state depends on your behavior." Think about how much energy you waste every single day justifying yourself to people who don't care, worrying about things that haven't happened, and replaying conversations from the past. This is not living. This is surviving in a state of constant low-grade trauma. The Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus were not living in comfortable times. They faced betrayals, exile, war, and plague. Yet they remained untroubled. Why? Because they realized that while they could not control the storm, they could control the ship. They understood that the mind is the only thing we truly possess. Everything else, your reputation, your wealth, your relationships, can be stripped away in an instant. But your character, your perspective, and your ability to choose how you respond to events, that is yours, and it is impenetrable. You need to start viewing your thoughts as guests in your home. Some are noble, some are garbage, and some are downright dangerous. You don't have to welcome everyone in. You have the right to curate your mental space. Most people allow anyone and anything to occupy their minds, cluttering it with trivial worries and unnecessary drama. To become a person of power, you must become a gatekeeper. You must ruthlessly filter what you allow yourself to dwell upon. This process requires a brutal honesty that most people avoid. You must stop blaming the world for your lack of focus and your emotional volatility. It is not the world's fault. It is your lack of training. You have spent years training your mind to be reactive, to be anxious, to be scattered. Now, you must spend the time to retrain it to be still, to be observant, and to be sovereign. It begins with the realization that your current state is not permanent. You have the power to pivot, to tighten your grip, and to reclaim the territory of your mind. It starts with silence, it continues with discipline, and it culminates in a level of inner peace that no external force can ever shatter. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple. Will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. If you want to understand why your life feels chaotic, look at where you focus your energy. Epictetus, perhaps the most pragmatic of all Stoic teachers, laid out the foundational principle of sanity, the dichotomy of control. He argued that some things are up to us, and some things are not. This is not a suggestion, it is the absolute law of reality. Yet, you fight this law every single day. You try to control the weather, the opinions of your boss, the economy, the way your partner behaves, or the past mistakes you've made. When you focus on things outside of your control, you are setting yourself up for guaranteed suffering. Why? Because you are tying your peace of mind to variables you cannot influence. If you decide that you will only be happy if your project is approved, you have given your happiness away. Now you are at the mercy of your boss. You are anxious, you are reactive, and you are weak. The Stoic, however, does not make this mistake. He looks at the project and says, I will do my absolute best. I will apply all my skill and discipline, but the final outcome is not mine to command. This might sound like passivity to your modern ears, but it is actually the ultimate form of power. By removing the attachment to the outcome, you free up massive amounts of mental bandwidth. Instead of wasting energy worrying, you funnel it all into your effort. You become a machine of execution because you are no longer paralyzed by the fear of failure. Failure only hurts if you believe you control everything. If you know that your only job is to show up and perform with virtue, then you cannot truly fail. Most people live in a state of constant low-level panic because they are trying to micromanage reality. They are obsessed with the what-ifs. What if they don't like it? What if this goes wrong? What if the worst happens? When you live in this state, your mind is never in the present. You are always living in a hypothetical future that hasn't happened yet. The Stoic stays in the now because that is the only place where power actually resides. Ask yourself right now, is this currently in my control? If the answer is no, drop it. Not yesterday, not in 5 minutes, but right now. Release the tension. If you are worried about someone else's opinion, ask yourself if you can force them to think differently. You can't. So why are you spending your life force on it? You are renting out space in your head to people who don't pay rent. Stop carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You weren't built for that. You were built to cultivate your own garden. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you stop being a victim. You stop being the person who is always complaining about how unfair things are. Instead, you become the person who is always asking, what can I do within this situation that aligns with my character? That is the switch from victimhood to sovereignty. It is a shift in perspective that changes everything. Start practicing this dichotomy today and watch how the noise of your life begins to settle. Most people live in a house with no walls. Every breeze of criticism, every storm of public opinion, and every passing distraction blows right through their mind, leaving them feeling exposed, cold, and unstable. They wonder why they feel so fragile, why a single negative comment can ruin their entire day, or why a minor setback feels like a total collapse of their identity. The reason is simple. You have not built an inner sanctuary. You have left your mental doors wide open, welcoming every thief that wants to steal your peace and every parasite that wants to feed on your energy. The Stoics were the masters of interior design, not for their homes, but for their minds. Marcus Aurelius frequently wrote about retreating into oneself. He didn't mean hiding from reality. He meant creating a fortress within the mind that is untouchable by external chaos. To build this sanctuary, you must first acknowledge that your mind is the only territory you truly own. If you don't defend its borders, you are effectively declaring that your mental state is public property, available for anyone to manipulate. Building your sanctuary begins with the practice of observation. When an emotion like anger, jealousy, or sudden panic strikes you, stop being the victim of that emotion and start being the scientist. Ask yourself, what is this? Is this real, or is this just a story I'm telling myself? Most of your suffering is not caused by the event itself, but by your interpretation of it. Your mind is a master of creating dramatic narratives, turning a small mistake into a catastrophe. When you catch your mind doing this, you step back. You become the observer. You say, "This is an unpleasant sensation, but it is not a definition of who I am." This is the foundation of the inner sanctuary, the gap. That split second between the event and your reaction is the most important space in your life. In that gap, you are a god. You have the power to choose. If you don't take that space, you will always be a slave to your initial reflexive impulse. By creating this habit of pausing, you are laying the bricks of your fortress. You are training yourself to be the ruler of your internal world, rather than a subject of your circumstances. As you strengthen this sanctuary, you will find that the things that used to destroy your day now lose their power. You see them for what they are, transient clouds passing through a sky that remains clear and untouched. You stop feeling the need to explain your inner life to others because you know the truth of your own integrity. You don't need external validation to feel safe or correct because your sense of worth is anchored within the walls you have built. This is the ultimate form of self-defense. You cannot stop the world from being noisy, but you can choose to enter your sanctuary whenever you need clarity. You can close the doors, sit in the silence, and remember exactly who you are and what you stand for. This level of autonomy is what separates the average person from the individual of true power. It is not something you are born with. It is something you build, one silent, conscious choice at a time. Your sanctuary is waiting for you. It is time to start building it. Most people believe that silence is just the absence of speech. They think it is a passive state, a vacuum waiting to be filled with the next opinion, the next update, or the next reaction. But in the architecture of a powerful mind, silence is not empty. It is a highly active, strategic tool. When you learn to hold your tongue, you are not just keeping quiet. You are conserving your life force and guarding your true intentions. Think of your words as currency. Every time you speak prematurely about your plans, your dreams, or your internal struggles, you are spending that currency before you have earned the return. You are leaking energy that should be used for execution. When you broadcast your intentions to the world, you get a hit of dopamine, a false sense of accomplishment that tricks your brain into thinking you have already done the work. This is a trap. The more you talk, the less you do. The Stoics understood that the most powerful force is the one that is felt, not heard. When you practice strategic silence, you become a mystery to those around you. You stop being predictable. People who are constantly venting, explaining, or reacting are easily managed. They are open books. But the person who holds their counsel, who observes more than they speak, carries an aura of authority. You stop seeking the validation of the crowd because you no longer invite them to judge your process. You build in the shadows, and you emerge only when the work is done and the results are undeniable. This requires a radical shift in your daily interactions. When someone tries to bait you into an argument or a gossip session, observe your own reaction. You will feel that familiar pull, that urge to jump in, to correct, to defend, or to add your 2 cents. That is your ego demanding to be seen. Ignore it. Practice the pause. Let the silence hang in the air for a second longer than is comfortable. You will be shocked at how much power is revealed in that gap. You will see people stumble over their own words to fill the silence, revealing their insecurities while you remain anchored in your strength. Furthermore, strategic silence allows you to listen to what is not being said. When you are quiet, you can hear the underlying currents of a conversation. You can identify the true motives of those around you. You are no longer focused on what you want to say next. You are focused on what is actually happening. This is the difference between a person who reacts and a person who commands. You are gathering data, observing patterns, and waiting for the opportune moment to act. Silence is the ultimate filter. It keeps the trivial, the petty, and the manipulative out of your life. When you refuse to engage with chaos, you eventually stop attracting it. People learn that you are not a dumping ground for their negativity. You become a sanctuary of stability. This is not about being cold or distant. It is about protecting the most valuable asset you have, your mental sovereignty. Master the silence, and you master the room, the situation, and ultimately, yourself. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple. Will you continue reacting to life or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. Let's talk about pain. Let's talk about the painful moments when everything goes wrong and your world feels like it is crashing down completely. Most people see adversity as an enemy. When a crisis hits, whether it is a financial loss, a betrayal, or an unexpected tragedy, they immediately drop to their knees and cry, "Why is this happening to me?" They view themselves as victims of a cruel universe. This reaction is natural, but it is a death sentence for your mental power. You are surrendering your sovereignty to the external event. The ancient Stoics possessed a secret weapon, a psychological tool that turns every single obstacle into fuel. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is not just a nice quote. It is a blueprint for survival. It means that whatever happens to you, no matter how terrible or unfair it seems, is not a wall. It is a path. It is a lesson designed to make you stronger, wiser, and completely unbreakable. When you master your mind, you stop asking for an easy life. You start demanding the strength to endure a difficult one. Look back at your own life. The moments that defined you, the experiences that actually gave you depth and wisdom were never the easy, comfortable days. They were the dark nights. They were the moments where you thought you couldn't go on, but you did. Adversity is the fire that tempers the iron of your soul. Without it, you remain soft, fragile, and easily crushed by life. To apply this, you must change your vocabulary. Stop calling events bad or unfortunate. An event is just an event. It is neutral. It has no power to harm you until your mind labels it as harmful. When a door closes in your face, do not see it as a rejection. See it as a redirection. When a person betrays your trust, do not waste your time hating them. Thank them for showing you their true character, and use that clarity to tighten your inner circle. You are the alchemist of your reality. You can take the toxic garbage that the world throws at you and turn it into gold. This is the ultimate shift from victim to master. The weak man is broken by adversity. The average man survives it. But the Stoic commands it. He uses it to grow. The next time chaos hits your life, stand tall, breathe deeply, and smile. Tell the universe, is that all you've got? You know that inside you is an unquenchable fire that feeds on the wind of opposition. If you are ready to stop crying about your problems and start using them to build your empire, drop the words, "I am unbreakable," in the comments right now. Like this video and subscribe to the channel because your intense mental training is far from over today. Your journey to sovereignty depends completely on it. Take control of yourself now. The untouchable mind. Most people are emotionally transparent. If you know how to push their buttons, you can make them angry, sad, fearful, or desperate within seconds. This makes them easy to manipulate. If you are constantly wearing your emotions on your sleeve, you are telling the world exactly where your vulnerabilities are. You are handing them the remote control to your nervous system. The Stoic, however, is a mystery. He is untouchable, not because he lacks emotion, but because he has mastered the transition from feeling to action. When you are truly in control, you reach a state where external chaos cannot penetrate your inner sanctuary. This is what the ancients called apatheia. Not apathy or indifference, but a state of being undisturbed by the passions that enslave the rest of humanity. It is the ability to remain anchored while the world around you is spinning out of control. How do you achieve this? You stop taking everything personally. Most of your emotional distress comes from the assumption that the world is revolving around you. When someone is rude to you, you assume they have a problem with you. When a plan fails, you assume you are a failure. This is vanity, not reality. People act according to their own internal conflicts, their own neuroses, and their own limited perspectives. When you stop making yourself the center of every event, you stop being the victim of every outcome. You realize that you are just a small part of a much larger mechanism, and your only job is to play your part with excellence, regardless of how others perform theirs. Furthermore, you must stop identifying with your thoughts. You are not your anger. You are not your anxiety. You are the observer of those sensations. Think of your mind like the ocean. The surface may be choppy, filled with waves of fear, frustration, and desire. But deep down, in the depths of the ocean, it is perfectly still. You have the ability to dive into that stillness at any moment. When the waves of emotion begin to rise, don't try to fight them. Just acknowledge them, witness them, and let them be. They are not you. They are transient, temporary weather patterns passing through your consciousness. When you develop this kind of distance, you become immune to the games people play. You stop reacting to insults because you know that your worth is not defined by the opinion of a stranger. You stop reacting to fear because you know that your capacity to handle a situation is greater than the situation itself. This is the ultimate form of power. It is a quiet, steady, unshakable strength that commands respect without you ever having to ask for it. People will be drawn to your calm like a moth to a flame, but they will never be able to manipulate you because they will never know what lies behind your steady gaze. You have become the master of your own inner territory, and that is a victory that no one can ever take away from you. The sovereign choice. We have walked a long path together today. We have dismantled the illusions of your reactive life, identified the traps set by a noisy world, and begun the process of building You can listen to every Stoic teaching. You can read every book on mental mastery, and you can nod along with every word I say. But if you walk away from this video and go right back to your old patterns of reactivity, you are wasting your own life. The world is not interested in your sovereignty. In fact, the world thrives on your dependency. It wants you anxious, it wants you distracted, and it wants you desperate for approval. Every notification you receive, every headline you click, and every piece of gossip you engage with is a transaction where you are the product. You are giving away the most precious resource you possess, your attention. When you lose control of your attention, you lose control of your reality. It is that simple, and it is that dangerous. Becoming sovereign is not a one-time event, it is a daily, hourly struggle. There will be days when you fall back into the trap. There will be days when anger clouds your judgment and fear dictates your actions. Do not despise yourself when this happens. Acknowledge it, observe it, and return to the center. The Stoic path is not about perfection. It is about the speed with which you return to your principles. Every time you catch yourself reacting, you have won a battle. Every time you choose silence over an impulsive outburst, you have added another brick to your fortress. You are currently standing at a crossroads. One road is the path of the crowd, easy, familiar, noisy, and ultimately empty. It is the path of constant reaction, where you are a leaf blowing in the wind, having no say in where you land. The other road is the path of the sovereign, difficult, quiet, disciplined, and intensely rewarding. It is the path where you become the architect of your own character. You are the only one who can make this choice. No mentor, no book, and no video can do the work for you. You must decide today that your mind is worth defending. Do not wait for a better time. Do not wait until you feel more motivated or until your circumstances are less chaotic. These are excuses, and they are the chains that keep you bound to your past. The time to take command is now, in the middle of your current stress, in the middle of your current frustration. Use this moment as the foundation. Start small. Close the unnecessary tabs. Turn off the notifications that demand your attention. Spend 10 minutes in silence. Stop justifying yourself to people who do not have your best interests at heart. You have the potential to be a force of nature, a person who moves through the world with unshakable calm and devastating focus. But you cannot achieve that while you are leaking your power to every passing distraction. It is time to close the gates. It is time to reclaim your inner kingdom. You are not a victim of your biology or your past. You are the master of your future. Start acting like it, starting right now. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. 5. Exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple. Will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today.